In this video I'm showing my upgrade of a Triang 1960s Blue Pullman. I first identified this as the train set I wanted as a Christmas present back in about 1970 when I was 10. I still have some of the original, but it's somewhat play-worn. As you can see from this picture, it came with a 3-car set, a motor coach and dummy motor coach and a centre coach, all with an oval of Super 4 track. More recently I've thought of reviving and found a 3-car version with the white ends as shown here. I can make up a set of 4 coaches now with the 2 centre coaches I have.
I purchased this 3-car set from Fisherton Warehouse in Salisbury, which has a great selection of vintage model railways. There was also a 2-car set there, maybe it's still there. What caught my eye most was how good a condition it is in, especially given it would be built between 1964 and 1968, 57 to 61 years ago. Nearly as old as me. Particularly the crests and glazing are good and there's hardly a scratch on it. The aim is to convert from DC to DCC and add lighting and sound. So what are the obstacles to overcome? First of all, the wheel sets. The old Triang wheel sets are typically oversized for modern track. I use code 100 and a mixture of Hornby and Pico points, so I'll be testing for these. Second area of concern is pickups. There are only 4 wheels to pick up power from the track. These are from the motor bogie, and this will really need to be increased for better performance. On the sound profile, well, what did the locomotive sound like? I believe there is a sound profile. I saw it, rather heard it on a video, and I'll put a link to that later on. However, it's unaffordable for me, and I've obtained a Hornby Next 18-pin HM7000 sound decoder. That was from Rails of Sheffield at a bargain price, I think, of £34.50, and I'll be using that. For lighting, I'd like the direction end lights to be installed, and in both the motor and the dummy motor car, and also coach lighting if possible.
It's always a good idea to check whether the locomotive is actually running on DC, and it is. Let's have a look at the wheels now. Here you can see the different sizes of the original wheels compared with the new ones. These are from Hornby coach wheels, 12.6mm diameter. These motor wheels are smaller than those indicated in John's Amazing Trains. You can see a whole video about different wheel sizes, but they seem to be within his prescribed limits for running on track, so I'm quite confident that they will run without difficulty. So while I can change all the coach wheels, I can't change the motor driving wheels, at least not easily. I'm going to clean up the motor driving wheels though. Note the serrations that make the cleaning more exacting. Wheels were introduced later, but they have nylon gears which wear, so I'll stick to the robust brass version for now at least. Now I'm cleaning using methylated spirits, soaking them for a little bit, and then wearing plastic gloves using a toothbrush to scrub them really clean. They were in quite good condition when I received them on this train, but they just need a little bit more help. It's important to put the wheels back correctly, putting the insulating side of the wheel on the spring circuit side. You can tell the difference easily, at least once the wheels are cleaned. Having put the wheels back, they need a little oil on the gears and also on the pads at either end of the motor spindle. The motor's in quite good condition and the commutator looks clean. I tested one of the wheels on the track to see if it jumps any of the Hornby or Pico points. I also tested the motor bogie too, and it seems to run fine.
On to extra pickups now. I'd like to put pickups to all four wheels at the other end of the motor coach. I obtained these little pickups from DCC Concepts. Here we see the bogie with its new replacement wheels. I've used 3 whole coach wheels that I already had, so the pickups have to avoid these little holes. You'd be better with solid wheels. I mounted and glued the pickups onto a piece of plastic card with a 3mm hole. It fits over the existing hole in the bogie, which is very handy for leading the wires through. But the passenger seats are on the other side, and so I had to drill a hole through that too. I couldn't lift the seats out to lead the wires under the seats. You can see the hole here. I'll use white wire so they are less obtrusive. I've soldered 2 white wires to the pickup tabs and run them through the hole and along the corridor. I've identified them with a little bit of coloured heat shrink, red for the right handrail and black for the left handrail going forward. I just need to check the electrical continuity with an ohmmeter, and on double checking this I've found that they do connect properly. I've connected the ends of the wires to a terminal block so I can add a supply from the motor bogie and leads to the DCC chip, and possibly coach lighting. This enables me to easily take them apart again. I've drilled a 10mm hole in the body shell to allow wires through from the motor. I put a rubber grommet into the hole to prevent the wires snagging as they move when the bogie moves side to side on the curves. To connect the motor bogie, we need to cut out the RF suppression devices and run a red and black wire to the terminal block in the body shell. For better connection of the left handrail and putting a tab attached to the screw that holds the metal cap to the magnet, I'll quickly burnish the surfaces for good contact. I've attached the tab, moved the RF suppressor components and soldered on new connections. The chip that connects the brushes is only insulated on one side. The other also needs to be insulated. I've taken the metal attachment that connects to the brush from my older model motor chassis and fitted it using a bit of heat shrink to isolate. That's why both wires happen to be red. Here is the next 18 harness that will allow me to connect the red and black to the rail supply and the orange and grey to the motor. Box opening time now. Let's see what's in the HM7000 next 18 box. We get a lot of different speaker housing, some instructions, and finally the chip and speaker. This is the next 18 chip on the latest DCC decoder tester. I can reassign the CVs and test functions, including lighting and sound and the motor. I've also downloaded the Hornby sound profile. Listening to various videos, none can I find of the Blue Pullman which isn't overwritten with music. However, listening to a video of the sound on the Bachmann 00 scale Pullman, I've opted for a Class 47 in the first instance, until I get something better. You can see here everything is connected up to test on the track. I've taped up the unused wires from the harness with red insulating tape. That test run being successful, I've put the speaker into the largest possible housing box. Luckily there's plenty of room. I've taped it down with double-sided sticky tape as I have with the terminal block and harness with the decoder on top. I think on the whole a successful test. I hope you've enjoyed this video, part 1 of the DCC conversion of the Blue Pullman. In part 2, I'll tackle the lighting.